Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party, and my buddy Rhett is joining me now. Wasn't in the last video because my wife was out watching Twilight with her, and there was all kinds of excitement going on. And then my son, my eldest son, came and he picked my wife up and is taking her out for a Sunday Mother's Day. He brought flowers for her and all that. And then they went for Mother's Day, and then um, so it's boring out in our living room now, and all the animals have come into the office as well. So this is the place to be. Um, I did get a nut, a legume, a peanut legume for Rhett. And here you go. There you go, girl. And Rhett was actually out there going, Marty, hey, Marty, Marty. So yeah, she definitely wanted to come in here. So I brought her in here. I have to admit, like, we got, I think we got everything working. I was watching yesterday's video. It seems like we have everything working, but it there's a change I want to make already, and I have a conceptual change in that I just don't like the idea of trying to do deletes from this menu. And then I'm wondering, like, will there ever be anything other than being able to delete, add, in the future? Maybe they'll only be add. And if there's only add, then it probably makes sense to get rid of it. But I have a feeling there'll be some other kind of thing, like import, export, that kind of thing. Um, but I think the way I want to handle delete is to actually have a like a way to kind of swap between um, this grid layout. So like if I add, that is so nice. How we have this grid, swap from that layout to more of a traditional table layout where all of these end up in their own like rows, and then you could delete from there. Um, I just think it's going to be weird trying to delete from here or have some pop up and that pop up be in the way and things like that. Let's just go ahead and all that. I do want to add that, like, if you get past, like, you can't get past 16. Like when you go 16, it'll see how there's a browser limitation that prevents you from, and it's crazy how fast these things are moving. Inspect. Um, I believe in the console actually tells us, yeah, too many active oldest context will be lost. So that was this one, and we got our new context down here. And that actually made me think of something. Like, I was like, oh, I want to have like an icon. So this, the thing I want to do today is I want to add an icon to the left of advis, and I think that may break things. Um, so break our keyboard stuff. So let me start over. And like, I just, man, it is just like such a pain in the butt trying to think through these things. But enter, and then when you hit enter, it added two. Didn't we have this fixed yesterday? Isn't that wild? So yeah, so when we were working on this yesterday, if I remember correctly, what was happening was it suddenly just quit doing doubles. We just weren't getting the the double call, and now we are getting the double call. So since it is working so erratically, I don't think I can just say, okay, on the second call, don't do it. I think I have to listen for a second call. And if a second call comes too fast before the last call, then we will, um, ignore it. So ignore any calls that come after a certain amount of time, and then, or before a certain amount of time, so that, like, which could, have the outside problem of someone like double clicking and not their second click not being registered, which I don't think that's big of a deal. I don't think that it is too big of of an ask to say, hey, can you click less than 12 times a second? You know, like, you know, I think that it's okay to say, you know, you should have to at least wait 90, 80 milliseconds or something. But anyway, so that's the one thing, and that's at the top of the list now. And then second on the list is to add a little icon, an add icon. And then after that, I want to add like a little way to swap back and forth between this grid layout and vertical layout. And then from vertical layout, you can delete and maybe other things too. I don't want you to be able to do full-blown editing, but like you can do some light editing. And probably import would be the ability to import, or the ability to, yeah, I don't know. We'll think through that. But anyways, for now, we got an issue. And that is when you hit enter, it gives you two of them. And I'm hoping that that second one is coming in just a ridiculously fast time. So, darn tootin'. I cannot believe this. So at menu, and then our type strip, and then where is our ad even happening? I thought it was happening from add menu. Oh yeah, so add keyboard viz handler. And I was thinking I was going to use like RxJS for debounce, but really there's no reason if all I'm worried about is ignoring anything that comes after a certain amount of time. I could just save that last time and calculate the difference. And I think that is a little easier than the debounce. I remember just absolutely falling in love with RxJS's debounce in the past, and I think it was because like the application I was working on was just littered with timing issues. So keyboard previous, man, I'm amazed at how confused I'm getting. So basically the keyboard handler. Okay, yeah, so here's where this stuff is happening. And we aren't actually ever changing this to true. But I don't think we want to even do this anymore. I would just want to see what the time is. When I'm dealing with time, I always need to look it up. So I might as well ask ChatGPT. How can I print in the browser console? With JS. Hi there. Hi, Rhett. All right. So, okay, so I want to. So saying like now, it is kind of wild that everybody always goes with that now thing. So basically, I'm going to calculate in here the current time. And I don't know what just happened. Oh, I guess I got all that. but I'm going to call it current time. I find now to be like now is the very common way of doing that, and I've always found that to be a bit confusing. And I'm in the mode where my confusion level, like I need as little confusion as possible. And then console log. And I know there are special utilities and stuff for this kind of thing. I actually want to swap this, Control X. And I want to take this current time. And hey rat, Control V, Control V. Let's see. V and Control V. Oh, this is only for keyboards. Okay. Maybe not, because it looks like it only got called once. Okay, did I do it like? I wonder. See, this is like 17 seconds later, so that only gets called once. So I don't know. Oh, I wonder. Okay, if whatever is getting called. Oh, I wonder if when I re-enable, I think I might have re-enabled the click. Add click viz handler. See if that's happening. Okay, so I'm hoping this UI service add viz only happens one time. If it's happening 2 times, okay, we do not want that. Oh, okay, and that one's not happening. Okay. Console.log, and I'm just going to give it a bunch of stars. So this might have been a false flag. It might. For some reason, I keep thinking that I'm getting double clicks. And I'm starting to think I'm not. And then enter. Okay, so we did get keyboard detected. Okay, I'm going to clear this and try it again. Oh, hate that. Okay, so it got called twice, but once it got called here, and there was no... Well, keyboard detected false, false. Okay, so I think the problem is that... Is that another attribute? Keyboard. And we're just going to, every single time it detects a keyboard, we are going to increment that one. So I definitely do not want this code that code to be around. tab, enter, enter. Okay. Do not understand why keyboard count is not. You would think at the very beginning, it would, at the very least, it would have incremented. All right. This keyboard count. Go, enter. Okay, so at this point, this keyboard count should be 1, right? How is this keyboard count? Was there a console error? I don't understand why this is not incrementing. So it's 3. Oh, okay. So it printed out the other one, but for some reason, okay. I don't know. It doesn't increment at all though, right? But I'm gonna change this. Maybe we're gonna learn something here. I know there's something weird about having the plus plus after the increment versus before. I mean the variable and stuff like that, but yeah, none of that is making any sense to me at all. Okay. I don't even know. I actually do want to kind of go back and figure out what that is, because obviously I have a major misunderstanding there. And that is sort of the nature of being a software developer. Sometimes you learn something wrong, and then that just sort of is like sort of this little time bomb or a little mental thing. And when you do kind of recognize something like that, you kind of want to shy away from it and sort of become defensive. But it's really more important to lean into it. Okay, so that's what was weird, right? Is we should never have had these little this happen before that. So somehow we got here. Okay. And this is so darn typical. This is exactly like you just weird stuff. And we closed yesterday. Everything seemed to be working. I mean, are we getting a click? Is that what's happening here? What's happening here, Rhett? And sort of these sort of weirdnesses that are happening are just sort of things that just sort of experience and then just sort of solve and then forget that I ever experienced it. Okay, so we never got a click. We do have a keyboard count of 1, which makes sense. So we got a click too. Why did we get a click? So we're getting a click event happen. And maybe that's why the problem went away yesterday was... Am I going to get a click if I get rid of these two? Do I get a click? Okay, did something weird happen there? I felt like something really weird happened there. Oh, I didn't save. Okay, that's weird. Okay, what if I hit space? Okay, so space is not coming in. Oh, yes it is. And it's coming. What the hell? All right, I don't understand. Enter, enter, enter. It's calling the click handler. Space, space. K, K, D, D, E, E. Is this a change? I don't feel like this was happening last time. Oh. So, using Angular material, it seems like my click handler is being called anytime I hit, time I press the enter or space bar. MFR. I don't feel like that has been like that. Okay, that's good. If you attach a click to something like a div or span and do not add Angular material classes like map button, it won't respond. I thought I had tried to do this and it was just like... Well, so I had a... click and the keyboard handlers being called. Double. Click handler as well as I'll say double invocation. Fire, and you can stop the event from bubbling to the click. Oh, when it's a keeper. So here's how. See, I guess maybe I got rid of a propagation or something, and then that ended up causing the click to get canceled. I mean, honestly, I'd rather just have a click handler. But add click handler. Oh, see, I am. No, I'm stuffing. Add keyboard. Okay. Um, need a need keyboard handlers. Handlers. Button. Because click is called. Exactly. You typically don't need a set. So, did I need that? Okay, so they're saying. So my understanding is I don't even need that, but I felt like I needed it up top because I'm just gonna get rid of it and see if I don't need those either. Holy shit! What a waste of time this has been if I don't need those. Enter. Enter, enter, enter. Space, space, space. Click. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, I will never forget that. That's for darn sure. So I don't think I need this. And I don't think I need this. And I like literally wasted all of last week. But I guess I'd rather I don't know how long this has been this way. It is I've definitely in the past had to add handlers for keyboard stuff. Show menu. And I guess I was getting double calls. Where's my click handler though? Add. Did I get rid of my click handler? Add click handler. How did I even? Gosh, golly, golly gee. That was enter. This is space. This is press. Space. Enter. All right, get rid of this. Yeah, right. Add visualization. This is the one that actually calls it. And then, I mean, sometimes you just have to learn things the hard way. Add viz does not look like it does anything. And then show menu does not do anything, but I think we want to keep it. I don't know. Do I even need any? It doesn't look like I need any of this. Close handler and view init. Can I just put this on the next line? Wondering if I can do this. Because I don't want to get rid of this stuff yet. And then I definitely don't want that anymore. And I don't think I need these two anymore. Add click. Okay, I definitely don't need this anymore. Let's just do that and get rid of or comment that out. I think add visualization, yeah, that returns a boolean, which is just true. I think I just want to and then let's go to UI service and add viz. I always wondered why would see this in production code a lot, where they just return a boolean. And what is this guy? I wonder. See, he's gonna return like, oh no. Let's see. This is my favorite way of figuring out what something does. And it'll be like, you can't do that because void. Okay, so that's going to be a void. That's what that returns. See, it tells me what I had. Like a void can't be a string. So that's my backwards sort of way of finding out what something returns. Now this just returning a Boolean, that is a completely new thing for me. It's just something I'm trying out. I don't know. I don't know if it's a good idea or not. I definitely want to give it a try. And that is why you do these kinds of projects, so that you can try things out, so that you don't have to try it out at work and find out that something's a really bad idea at work, where they're paying you. So everything seems to be working without any of that other bullshit that I was doing. And yeah, I don't know where. I know in the past I've had to build out stuff like that. I don't know when you didn't have to start building that stuff out anymore. Yeah, so let's see if it knows. When did Angular material add this click / keyboard functionality? And I do think that that is another kind of thing, is they unintentionally sort of gaslight people, right? Like where you like they fix something, they make it better, but you were so fixated on the way you used to fix it that you distinctly remember it, but so they just say early. It's early releases. So I think the place where I was Angular 7. So to work in Angular 7, and I don't, and I not having that behavior then. I don't know for sure. I'm just, oh, thank you. Then here's the nuanced truth. Okay, that's gonna be, oh my lord. That's what I'm gonna say from now on. Whenever I get caught lying, I'm gonna say this is the nuanced truth. Wasn't uniformly implemented in all components in Angular 7. The more complete standardized keyboard animation you saw became consistent starting in Angular Material 9 and beyond. So the one I worked on, now this is really starting to come together, because the one I worked on was Angular 7 and we upgraded to Angular 10. And yeah, stuff was so squirrely with the keyboards and all that kind of stuff. And that must have been why, because they had gotten this stuff working. Unless they were native to the button. Oh, and then, okay, that is probably another thing, is the browser version. Unless they were native to the button. So we don't even know if this is an Angular material behavior, or if this is a browser improvement, because like we were on a very, very much older version of Chrome back then as well. So like browsers changed behavior since that. Yes, you're exactly right. The browser behavior has evolved and not in the same way to the. Yeah. All right. Okay. So that, my friends, is what you call a vestigial behavior. I just spent probably the whole damn week last week writing code for the way browsers were in 2000. Yeah, when was Angular 7 released? So 2018. So yeah, almost like 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 5 years ago, at some point, the browsers were behaving different than they do today. And I just freaking wasted a whole week writing code for the way browsers worked in 2015. So that was a hard lesson. That lesson was hard. Now, the nice thing about hard lessons is they're pretty damn easy to remember. The unnice thing about hard lessons is they are hard lessons. That was very, very painful. And that sucks. It sucks that I just wasted all that time doing some weird ass old man thing that never needed to be done. And yeah. And that happens all of the time. And I guarantee if you've been coding for 4 years, you're doing stuff like that already. You know, I constantly say, as a front end developer, if like we are in 2025 now, if I'm not writing code in 2028 that me right now can't understand, then I've fallen behind. Every 3 years, the world turns all the way over, and it's a whole different thing. And that is some weird ass shit that you used to have to write that you don't have to write right now. A lot of things have been changed in the name of accessibility. I think it is better. I mean, it's definitely better, but there's a lot of times when you're using an application and things are broken, it is because you, it is because, so I think I do want to do this open. I think I'm going to want to know that. So, and I think I do want to close it. I do think that at some point I'm going to actually want this behavior. I'm going to want to know, is that open or closed right now? True, and close that, so we don't need that anymore. We don't need this anymore. Don't want that anymore. Man. So the good news is I definitely learned a lot on that. The bad news is, damn, that hurt. Hurt so bad. It's just one of those things about, one of those, they don't call it the bleeding edge for nothing. That, my friends, is a little bit of bleeding right there. And I think the worst part about it is that, like, there's just no way to know. Like, there's nothing I could do to change, like, learning something, working really hard to learn something, and then it just isn't even a thing anymore. It's just like just gone. And like my favorite example that I always use, because there's one time that it really saved me, because basically this, like, See how this little red line, that you used to have to code that. You used to actually have to like go in and compare it to some dictionary and then go in and add a style underneath inside the input box underneath the misspelled thing. And I remember that task got assigned to me by some very, very high up person. And then like about a month later, it started just natively happening inside of browsers. You didn't have to code it anymore. It just worked. And that guy was just always convinced that I had got it working. He was just like, "You're amazing. This guy's the best developer. He actually got that working. Like everyone else told me it was almost impossible, and this guy got it working, and it just started working in the browser." And like I would constantly say, "Look, that just started happening natively in the browser. I didn't have to do anything." And he'd be like, "Oh, you're so modest. Gosh, that's what I like about you is how modest you are." Like he just thought that I got this on their website, got it to where it would, if you misspelled something, you know. So that was an example where it saved me thousands of hours of work probably. Like I probably would have been working on that for a year trying to get that shit working, and it just started working. But yeah, no, that hurts. That whole last week, all that work was for nothing. And but it will be interesting. It will be worth writing unit tests. I mean, not unit tests, but end-to-end tests for that. But I literally don't have any of, like, it's all gone. It's like, and it's all working. I'm just going to double check it that it all works. I guess it was good that it was doing the doubles. Man, I had some weird ideas though. I mean, they're weird now. They weren't weird. So I hit enter, hit space, click it, everything works. And it's just all working magically because I used Angular material. If you, yeah, if you have Angular material, and I guess around 2000, if you guys started building it after about 2020, then yeah, you don't have to worry about this. It's something you don't have to worry about. It just works. If your code is older than that, then yeah, it's nuanced. So that is that. It's all working. I should feel really happy about this, but I'm just sad that I put in all that extra work for nothing. So I think, yeah, it's ready to. Well, I guess this would be the time to add dialogue that says you cannot add more than 16 things. Oh, and that is one of the things. Oh, and I do still want to put the icon there. And yeah, yeah, I want like a little icon for add. And it was funny because the thought crossed my mind. Hey, I could do like a little one of these little visualizations, and that will be like the thing. But you can only have 16 of them, and that's just a fact that we know now. So yeah, so what's next is to add an icon in here, which shouldn't be very hard. I don't think I have, and I guess we probably want a plus, right? So map menu. How can I add a plus icon in this markup? And again, I think I'm just always going to say this. I am just literally copying my code into here. I would never do that at work. You should never ever do that at work. As a talented technical developer, that's about the only thing I know of that will get you fired is pasting production code into any kind of social network or anything like that. So unless you're like working on like open source code where, something like that, but don't ever post internal work code in there. So this is what I want. I think probably with this span. And I don't think that's going to break any of my stuff. And we put it right after the button close, or the end of the button tag. And we replace the app viz with add viz with a span. Oh, and it didn't even break. So apparently we're already using matte icon, or we got matte. So did we bring in matte icon? Is that? So we never, oh, there it is. Yeah. So apparently, oh, yeah, that's how we got this thing. So let's see, tab, enter. Oh yeah, that's nice. Enter, 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 enter. That's nice. Now, whenever I have another thing, then we're going to have to figure out, okay, how do we want this to show that it's selected? You know, maybe this will be the only one that is white text and the other ones will be grayed, whatever, something like that. There needs to be some sort of visual indicator. So I have content. A grid. Like to toggle back and forth from a grid to a list layout. Is that something that I would put in my more burger it still stings. Boy, that still stings. I'm still having a hard time. I'm a little tilted. Drop down. I mean, it's better. It's so much better. It's like this whole bunch of very not fun code that I used to always have to do and it would always get stuck on me is now no longer in my life, which is really nice unless I have to work on some old code or something. But and I guess that's good because like if there's like an old Angular application that has to be maintained and someone needs to go in there and get that working, this sort of legacy kind of work that would be almost impossible for anyone to even be able to figure out. So should it be its own visible icon? See if that even makes sense. Outside of the menu. So I think it's going to be one of the most common things to, okay. So, yeah, so I think I want that toggle layout. All right, so, okay, so I think, so I used very often, too often to delete, make small edits. So I'm just gonna say it's a hamburger just because it's easier. Hamburger icon is fixed on the upper right. Would be a good place for the toggle icon. Upper left. especially if it's frequent action and your hamburger icon is already in the upper right if you want to validate. Works well if you want to toggle to fill. See, I kind of want it just to be like absolutely placed right here. Where it is a bit weird because it also seems like it should go like right there, just to the left of this thing, so that both things are there. And then like when you spacebar through things. Now, I think that's a fully different behavior. So I guess this is the time to like sort of start preparing to commit. I think this is a good commit time. So to commit, what we need to do is two things. Well, we need two things. We need to clean the code up, make sure that there's no console logs, things like that in there. And then we also need to get unit tests back up to 100%. And then we need to get end-to-end testing. And then that will be a very, very good time to do a like a 3-minute, hey guys, this is end-to-end thing. Okay, so I don't think we want these. Do we want these comments still? Yeah, I don't think we want these comments anymore. Create, and so I don't think this ever gets called create animate renders. Maybe it does though. All right, so we do have some cleanup to do. Because set up visualization. So I think we're, yeah, set up visualizations. We definitely do that. Set up DOM. And we do this. This is our animations. Okay, so I feel like this is now more confusing than, it's more of a confusion than a valuable resource. And I think this is also not bringing any value. And this is not bringing any value. It's so hard, like, you know, to appreciate the like how nice this is, like that we can just add stuff, you know, because it just, like, I remember I had this one boss that was just like, man, you're never excited. Like when everybody else gets excited, it was just like, well, yeah, I get excited when it starts working. And then about 3 weeks later, it kind of gets through the process, and then everybody else that's working. But I'm already deep into the new problem by the time everybody else gets excited. Okay, we don't have any dead code in here. This is show menu, ng after, close handler, add visualization. Yeah. That is so freaking crazy. That literally, if I had just left it alone, we would have been good. Just leave it alone. Navbar edit. What is that? Viz. Oh, okay. I don't think I want that anymore. I think I like the idea of having like if, I don't know, I don't think that actually working within the viz itself is a good idea anymore. I think it'd be better to get to it from a tabular view. I think that, like, if you go to table view and then you see it's your 6th one, like that, understanding that it's your 6th one is more important than being able to go into editing directly. And you're like, I don't know, is that the 8th one, the 5th one? I don't know. I think when it's laying in the grid form, I really want to have like a really cool masonry effect, and I don't want to be like, well, I have to imply the order while we're in the masonry effect. I want the masonry effect just to lay it out either as the user has laid it out or in the best looking way. I don't want to have to be worried about the order. And if you want to know the order, then you can go into the tabular layout. It's kind of weird because tabular is, the root of that is table, not tabbing. And tabbing has become huge since the word tabular became a thing. Okay, I think all of these are good. That was fun, that transition. I think that's, yeah, how it transitions in and out of there. Now we're not ready to commit yet, but we are ready to kind of start the unit test process. And okay, so I'm going to do that too. See, it's 11:30 and it is right at an hour, so this is a good time. This is still okay. Test. I remember when my goal was like to have every video be less than 10 minutes, but I didn't think you could actually like show the actual ups and downs and like the highs and lows and all that of coding in like these 10-minute highly refined videos. Because basically what I would do is I would practice for like 2 hours, an hour or 2 hours, and then I'd write a 10-minute video, do a 10-minute video, and I would upload it. And I realized that, man, you know, that is just like hiding the true effort that goes into it. And it's not that I want to get credit for the true effort. It's more that I don't want to imply that I didn't put in all kinds of effort. I don't want people to think, oh, this just happens. And it's like, no, you have to do that. All right, so all of our unit tests are passing. So that is the first and easiest of the hurdles. If a unit test had been broken, first thing we do is figure out why it's broken and all that. Then the second hurdle is, do we get 100% coverage on a unit, any given unit? I mean, on all the unit tests. And then I do not think we will. No, actually, I think we will lose coverage because we're not like, we don't build anything right out of the gate now. So yeah, we're definitely going to lose coverage. And just so you know, like you can't drag these onto an existing tab. You have to have a new tab, and then it creates a new tab too, which is weird. But let's see, I want this guy right here will show me everything. So if I do this, if I drag this here, it'll give me this weird about blank blocked page, which is very strange. I think if I were to drag it in here, it'll try to upload it to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will have some sort of opinion or something. I don't know. But if you drag it onto here, then that. So yeah, so our app menu, what are we at? Let's see what our overall score is. 91% of statements. So we have 31 statements that are not being covered. We have only 29 of our 37. So we got like a C plus on that. We got an A minus on that. Functions, we got 90 of 98 coverage, and lines. We have 2 red sections, 1 orange section, and the rest green. And then in those green ones, there's a couple. Well, there's one that has a 75. So what I was doing before was I was like at this point trying to get to 100%. And I felt like that ended up being a mistake. So I think the right thing, or the thing that works best for me, it's not the right or wrong thing, but the thing that works best for me is to then start running individual unit tests and try to figure out, okay, what do I need to do to get this unit test up to 100%? So this unit test used to be at 100%. So now it's not even when it's running, and that's this setup visualization never gets called. and then has been initialized never gets called, and animate never gets called. And that, of course, it would never get called because we aren't even we're not creating a single one yet. So I think I don't know what we're going to have to do. So we're going to have to call set up visualizations with some visualizations. So that's actually going to be hard, probably the hardest one to do. So yeah, because what this does is I'll have to create some visualizations, and then I'll have to mark them as initialized. And I believe this is the process that marks it as initialized. It goes to the visualization service, and I believe in there that happens. So I almost feel like I want to do this one last. I want to do this after everything else. Okay, so what's the next one? This UI service. So services are typically very, very easy to unit test. And if they're hard to unit test, then that's probably a good indication. So like it looks like all I have to do is call addviz in this to get that. But so what I do is I'm going to close it is this guy. So I'm going to close everybody else. US service spec. And I'm going to see if I can just call it. So in this unit test stuff, and like this is the first personal project I've ever worked on that I've done unit tests. I've had to do unit tests a lot of times at jobs. I've never really got to just sort of play around and just try different sort of things to, just to experiment and see what works and what doesn't work. But anytime I have something that's named it by what the automated system creates a spec for me, and then it names whatever service I'm using, whatever service I'm testing, it names it service. Is that a good idea? Is that a bad idea? I don't know. But that's what it does, so I'm trying it out. And so we want to come up with a name, and we're going to create a test. And another name for a test, I believe, is an assertion. And we use a function called the it function. So let's see. So this is a function. Oh, no, not an assertion. A spec is what it's called. An assertion is a string that gets passed in. So the string is, it says, should add a viz. And I'm probably going to regret not like coming up with a standard. Sometimes I call it a visualization. Sometimes I call it a viz. It'll be very interesting to see if I end up regretting that. And these get a thing at the end. And what I do is I put the word F in front of this describe, which then focuses everything to this. Now, I think if you go, sometimes it resets everything up and it fixes everything. Yeah, and sometimes it doesn't. This time it did. So we have 20%. We should have a warning saying that I have one that this guy has no expectation. And so I believe I can just call that function and I will get a viz. And I can actually test to see that it returned a true. Not that, I guess, let viz added equals false, and viz added equals service dot add viz, and then I guess before this we'll just say expect. Well, now I like to just see if that works before we get into anything. Just make sure. So we definitely helped things. No, hit reload. So we have 100%. So basically we expect viz added to be false right here. And this is our, I can't, what is this thing called? I thought this was an assertion, but they call it an expectation. Expect to be true. Now, I mean, doesn't really test anything, you know, but now we do have a I don't know what we even have. We have an ST renderer, and it exists. So now we can remove our F describe, and I believe it will rerun with everything. And we should have some good, massive improvement, I think. Oh, we definitely have another green. So then I think what I typically will do at this point is like, okay, so it is app menu. Does that one make sense to sort of take on alone? See, I like that because it just actually literally ran this on its own. We didn't have to do anything to get this to run, and we don't have any kind of issues, but the close handler never got called. So now we can call that directly. So I'm going to go to, what is this one called? App menu component. So I'm assuming it's under the menu, app menu component, spec. We'll do an F describe here. Let's see if it works. You just want to watch this down here and just see that it actually changed these numbers, because sometimes it doesn't actually update. Everything's working so perfectly today. I don't know why. I guess it's the universe rewarding me for the whole keyboard debacle. I mean, that whole debacle, like, I wouldn't be surprised if 3 years from now I'm working on some old version of Angular and I can't remember, like an Angular 7 application or something, and I can't remember how you deal with keyboards and stuff, and I'll go back and watch that video and be like, oh, thank gosh, I actually documented that. That may have literally been my last chance to ever document that. Okay, so we'll reload. And so I think, so this is called component, right? So I'm curious what the is open is. I probably, oh, so I probably want to call the show menu and then check to see. Okay, so actually this makes me want to go into show menu and return this is open as well. And again, this is like, this is so freeing because this is my own project. So I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I can try it and see what happens. Like, this might be a great idea. This may solve a lot of problems. I sense that this is something if I had always done this. Now, I don't know, like, for the people that like if this would ever get pat, like in a place where they have like really, okay, there's like kind of a bad combination of like if you get to the point where they have a lot of heavy pull requests, and then they have sort of individuals that are just like super OCD and stuff like that, like someone like that might have a real problem with this. Now, I guess we don't want these two. hate the fact that, so now I'm gonna leave that. I think we will need these eventually. If in a professional place, you probably wouldn't be able to get past the linter. It would probably be like you can't have methods that you don't use. But I really sincerely believe we're going to need these, and I don't want to have to try to ask ChatGPT and learn how to get all this working again in the future. So, all right, so let's go back to our component spec. So it should open the menu. And we'll basically say that if show open is true, then the menu is in fact opened. And then, so we're going to say component const opened equals this dot component dot show menu. And I guess we don't need this. Oh, I need the event and the trigger. That is pretty cool. So I think this is the kind of a good thing. I don't know. Const e event as equals. I'm just going to do that as event. Oh, yeah, so it seems to know what that is. And then const mmt as, and it is a mat menu trigger. And basically it's also, we're just going to create an empty object as mat menu trigger. And then E and MMT. Now I'm guessing in the future we're going to do stuff with that, those two things, and we're going to be like, that's pretty cool that now I can just, whatever I'm dealing with, I'll just mock over here, and then the unit test will start passing again, and it'll just be a good time to think through things. I'm just going to call is open. And so this is cool because I don't really need to access is open to know what is open is, because I return it. And I think that's good. And we're going to say expect. We're going to create our expectation. And we're going to expect is open to be true. Yeah, I guess in the grand scheme of things, I'm really glad I went through that whole input thing, because I bet you I'll at some point want to go back and review how we used to do that. And now I have a video. Oh, well, I have 4 videos where I go through the whole process. And then close handler. Okay, so that's good. So now we have this one. And so basically now it should close the menu. And I think we want to open the menu first. And we want to make this a let instead of a const. And then we want to close the menu. Equals component dot close handler. Probably shouldn't have called that close handler. Well, yeah, I don't know. And then to be false. That feels right. I don't know. I might be wrong, but that feels right. And these unit tests are getting a lot easier to write. And then add visualization. And then we're going to say, and I believe, yeah, this is going to return a true. So I will say that I do think it is like kind of cheap. It's a bit of a cheap stunt to like literally we're just returning a true. But honestly, it wouldn't return a true if something broke, but it also wouldn't transpile. Visualization. And then it is crazy how much easier this is though than it was just like 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, like these things were just like, it was an absolute, like it was really, really hard to mentally make these unit tests, and now they're just like simple. So const add viz. I think I'll just try to make that just part of this culture of this thing, is like we add we viz and add visualization are synonyms. It's just the way it is. I talk big now. I might very well not. I'm going to change this to viz added. True. And so, man, we're doing good. Man, that was. And then see this returning these values, these Boolean values, just is such a huge game winner for when you it's such a big game changer for what do I try to think? Oh, for unit testing. It just like unit testing just flows a lot better when you return Booleans, where you would have in the past not, where I would have just been a void. Should execute. Click viz handler. And like if you really truly wanted it, if you're like, oh man, I need to really understand what is happening on these click handlers and stuff like that with these events and things like that, it's just like, fine, do it. This is a perfect place to do that. But if you're not, then this is a perfect place to not do it. But you wouldn't have a place to just play around with like let's say I actually want to mock an actual event, right? So and I kind of want to on this one because I don't want to have to mock prevent default and stop propagation. So actually, I'm actually extremely curious if I take this code here. And again, don't paste your work code into this tool. Mock the event with prevent See, I didn't want to do that, but I wonder if there's a way. Actual event object. I'm just curious about that. Without any methods. Oh, so that doesn't. Eh. Okay, so I don't know. And I really don't understand. I want to kind of learn the hard way why I'd want to like to have been called. Like what do I care? Like if they never called it, I don't care. Um, and then I don't see. I guess I don't even need to. Let's see. If we look at this code, these guys don't do anything, so I don't really need. I don't think I need these. So I think. Okay. So basically, I want to mock the event. But I don't really want these Jasmine spies. I just don't know what they do. You know, like I just don't know what the point is. And I would, like, I want to not just have them someday. I want to be like, oh shit, I need a way to do X, Y, Z. How do I do that? Oh, Jasmine Spy. That's the perfect thing. I want to have that experience. Um, I don't want to just have it. So now, okay, so I have my event, and I think I can, now that I have my event, I can just call that, and I know I'm going to get a true back. Again, I don't think that I do. I will acknowledge that that is just like a cheap and dirty hack on unit testing. But we're talking about an abstract thing on an abstract thing. Like it's so far down. Like it's a like unit tests are kind of like it's arguable whether you should do them or not, right? So now it's like, well, then, okay, once I'm doing a unit test, then should I do this or not? And then once I'm doing this or that, should I do this or that? You know, it's like, okay, at some point, it's got to stop. Um, at some point, I may say, no, it's really nice. I know that I will probably never, I don't think I'll ever create a void function again. I think every function I do from here on out, if it's a void, I'll make it a Boolean and return, try to return something. Um, and um, because this has been a game changer for unit tests for me. Okay, so const viz. I think viz added is still the right thing because it returns the result from add visualization. And I only know from a lot of experience that these do not have to be Jasmine spies. They can just be any function. It's just going to execute that function. Like we could put a console log in there and then we would see console logs in here. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. Just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Console.log. I can't remember if you see it in here or if you see it in the browser. There's a browser that popped this browser here. If you see it, it's console. Um, I'll remove that in a second, but I believe we'll see it right here. Yeah, see, we have our log prevent. So a lot of times, you know, that's basically how I kind of figured out how to do all that stuff. But now I think we should have 100%. 100. All right, that's nice. So now expect viz added to be true. And then boom, boom, 5 success, boom. Now we're done with that. Got our 100% there. Let's remove our f describe. And then let's see if we have any other just like easy. The app one, I think I want to take the night to think about. Like, okay, what do I want to do this with this? So this guy, isn't that the one? Is this components viz? So it says there's one function, one statement, one line, and one function that isn't run. Which gives me a C. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I got a C in that, and then I got an F there. What the heck? Set as initialized. Okay, so here's another one where I probably want to return that has been initialized. And that's just like a new thing. Like literally just started doing this. And I don't know. I'm going to just go play with this. I'm going to try this on, see if it works. And I think I may have a new, just a new sort of go-to rule in my life of returning these things. And one of the the huge advantage to this, I think, is now there's absolutely no reason for this to not be private. Right? Because if you set it, it'll tell you. So, you know, like if I decide to unset it, I'll return that. I'll return the value. They don't need, and you don't even get a reference to it, so you couldn't change it. So I think that's a really good, really good change in my sort of mindset. So f describe. Oh yeah, okay, so it can't. There is a reason. That's a good one. So let me go back. I want to create a function is initialized. It's kind of funny because I've seen this in a lot of like really very mature, very stable. I've seen this pattern in a lot of stable software development organizations, and now I'm starting to like, a lot of times I like to learn things the hard way because they're easy to remember. We just saw me learn something the really hard way where I spent 3 effing days, and yesterday like an hour and a half writing a bunch of code that I did not need to write because Angular material just does it for you now. But they didn't back when I had to deal with this stuff. Well, you know, like this is initialized is a great way to take care of something like this. And really, this is probably the better way to do this. And then I have something broken over here, so I can hold the control button down and click on that button. And this stopped. Let's see if anything else is broken now. Okay, everybody seems happy. And so now I don't even have to run a specific function for the new thing, because when I check to see, this is not the right one, components viz. See, can I get back to there? Yeah, it's this guy right here. Viz spec. And say should initialize the component. Semicolon, comma, and then yeah, I guess that's a good name. Component. Is it component? No, this is a service. Okay, service dot no, it's component. What am I looking at? Viz service. Oh, okay. I'm looking at the wrong. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing. So I have this other little pattern where I created a service for that component. I don't know if that was a good idea or not at this point, but I guess I called it a fixture over here. Dot. Oh, I guess I need to. Boy, I don't even remember that. But I'd rather call it component since that's what I do everywhere else. Component dot. I feel like I'm probably gonna, yeah, I have to tell it, like, or for it to be able to help me. I think this is a viz component. And I think this is how you do that. I think you go is that right? And then now can I say component dot set as initialized? And I'm going to say that I want const. So that was like just kind of a stab in the dark. Like that's just good living, right? Like you just doing the right things all the time, and then you just know how to do it. I hope I'm not, because you know the IDE at least is tricked. I don't know if it was real. So hit save, and what we want to see is that this guy will have a huge improvement in. See, it's running all of them. See, it ran everything. It did in fact run this, so I think that's, but yeah, I don't know why it suddenly decided to start to not, oh, because I didn't F describe it. That's funny. Funny. Right. Man, I'm missing out on a lot of branches. And it's because my main component isn't really being, it used to just build one. And I don't know, yeah. But now it's kind of part of a larger scheme of things. Okay, so this is all 100%. And now we expect, our expectation that we will communicate to the system via an expectation. The expect function is that sets as initialized. and then we expect the component to be initialized. The component to be initialized. And then, comma. Oh, no, that's wrong. I'm completely crazy. Is initialized to be. I don't know why I did it that way. True. I remember when I first started doing this stuff, I always would forget to make that a function, like to execute it. So it says it ran 2 expectations and they were both successful. We still have 100%. Let's remove this. And we are 100 over here. And I think everything right now is 100 all the way down except for up here, which I guess a ton of my branches are in there because we're down to 78%. So like most places where I work, or a lot of, I have worked in several places where 80% was the minimum. So we would not have minimum coverage at this point. We have 8 branches in here that are untested. So this is kind of like, all this thing does is render branches, right? App. All the app does is render visualizations. It does nothing else. Well, it also draws the menu, but like it, none of its code actually gets to execute unless there is a renderer ID. So I guess that's the thing, is we need to create an actual renderer, and it would be probably bad. I don't know. It would probably be important. So right now, I'm definitely not going to write this right now. But right now, I'm just kind of trying to mentally go through, trying to give my brain enough information so that when I lay down tonight and close my eyes and I think about the code that makes me go to sleep, which is this, then I'll be able to kind of think about this stuff. And then maybe even when I fall asleep and dream, I might actually dream through what I need to do. So see, set up visualizations, we can run it, but it won't do anything unless there are some visualization components. So we actually need the components, and that's from this visualization items. And the visualization items are, what are the, okay, so they're the children of this. So this is the kind of stuff that I think whenever you have this inside of a function, it makes it a lot harder to unit test, just in general. So we probably do want to pull, if at all possible, we probably want to pull this code out of here, and just have a function that like literally just calls and then calls another function, and it passes in the visualization items. And then teasing those two sort of behaviors apart will make this a lot easier to unit test. And then the animate visualizations, it's like I know this is throwaway code, so I hate wasting time, but I guess it isn't a waste of time learning it. But like that animate visualizations will be won't like that's it just won't be here. Now at some point I think I had achieved 100%. So at some point I guess I did do it. Right now, animate visualizations happens right here in this effect. So I guess if I just call, if I do that, it's kind of interesting that the effect. Well, I guess it is interesting the effect ran. I guess it's not that interesting. Yeah, because it ran and it executed these things. So that is really nice that Angular got that set up so that we don't have to like do something to get the effect to run. It just runs at the first time. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, so basically, I'm going to do that right now. Set up visualizations. And this gets called from here. Where is it even getting called? Something is calling it. It must be my unit test is calling it. Let's go here. Oh, I guess it gets called. Why is it getting called? So somehow set of visualizations is getting called. Control F. I thought it. Okay, so there's two. Oh, okay, because set up DOM visualizations gets called with this little break. So that is actually apparently happening. But I want this to call. Okay, this and the big question. Okay, so this uses the visualization service. So I still need access to the local. Like it's gonna be hard to make this pure without the visualization service. I do still think I think it's easier if I pass this thing to a function that just has this code in it. And then I won't have to worry about like how visualization items get created. Because it won't matter. I'll still need access to the this, so it won't be a pure one. So I'm just going to call this set up visualization items. And I'm returning a Boolean. No more voids. No more voids. And I'm just going to say return true. It may not. I might actually return the count. Let's make that a number. Return. And it's going to accept an array of viz components. And viz components dot length. And then I think I can just paste this into here. Visualization items and VIZ components. And then pop, 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 pop. Let's just. So everything seems to work. Let's just double check that stuff works. So this is where end to end is nice, right? When we get that going, is then we run the end-to-end items. We make a change like that, and we run the end-to-end test, and boom, everything's still working. We know everything still works. But I think that this is going to make unit testing this a lot easier,
Right.
because literally all we have to do that is set that up, is create our viz components. So that is cool. This is what we will be doing tomorrow morning, is visualization. So it looks like my wife is home from her Mother's Day extravaganza with my son, so I probably should get off of here now. But yeah, so now all we have to do is mock these, and they just have to have, I don't know. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening in this one. Um, that'll be fun. Um, but yeah, so basically, yeah, we're just trying to get this stuff
Right.
done, and then once that's done, then we just kind of go through the arduous task of testing everything with their own F on them, just to make sure that everything is tested at 100% at the suite level. Anyways, everybody, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.